Hello and welcome to your new moon tarot forecast for Taurus season 2021. So if you're unfamiliar with these readings that I offer on the new and full moon, there are always two options, a shorter and an extended version. The first shorter version is offered for free on YouTube and Instagram, and it involves 4 oracle cards to forecast what this new moon energy has in store for us. And then if that message resonates for you, I highly recommend checking out the extended forecast, which includes 10 to 12, sometimes 14 or 15 tarot cards, and it's posted over on my Patreon. So when you sign up for the Patreon full-time fortune teller level, it's the highest level. You get all of the benefits from the tiers below, and you get access to these extended readings on the new and full moon. So we're gonna get started with our first oracle card pull from the Total Betty Goddess deck. The Total Betty Goddess deck is a deck of my creation. It's all 90s icons as the goddesses, and it's available along with the coloring guidebook at michelleshewalker.com. So if you feel interested in that concept or in the cards that I'm about to pull, feel free to check that out. The Goddess card is just giving us a general energy read for what this new moon in Taurus has in store, as well as a little spiritual alignment and guidance for us. We have a little feminine energy guiding us through this Taurus season, which is all about finding the fruits of our labor. So our Total Betty for this Taurus new moon is Ishtar, played by Julia Roberts in the movie Pretty Woman. So Ishtar is a beautiful, powerful goddess to have for this Taurus season because she is definitely embodying the Taurus ideals of love and luxury and money and abundance, but with a little bit of a badass edge to her. So Ishtar is kind of the prototype for what we know as the goddess Venus in Roman mythology or Aphrodite in Greek mythology, but she's a little more warrior to her. The other goddesses feel a little more love and beauty and luxury, and Ishtar still embodies those things, but she also is not afraid to stand up for what she believes and stand up and go into battle whenever she needs to. So this card is telling me that we will be expected to defy expectations of ourselves during this Taurus new moon. It's definitely a card that is a divine feminine energy because it is saying like a lot of your power does come from being able to sit back and receive, which is a very sort of Taurus ideology, the idea that rest is important in the manifestation process and you should feel completely unashamed for taking time for yourself, self-care, rest, whatever it is that you do to spoil yourself. But there is an interesting thing here that's saying don't let that discount the fact that you can go after what you want. So there's gonna be a nice play this new moon between allowing ourselves to rest and indulging in the little luxuries of life, snacks, baths, beauty rituals, long luxurious yoga sessions, whatever it is that makes your body feel good and grounded. But it's also going to be about waiting for that divine impulse to take action. And that's really important, and that's something that we kind of get a little fuzzy on when we really want to be moving forward in life. We try to force that moment to happen, and sometimes the self-indulgence is what opens us up to that divine inspiration. So there's going to be a play between the two. So don't get so caught up in the luxuriating in the moment that it turns into sort of a laziness and a lack of wanting to move into action when that impulse occurs. But also don't try to feel like you need to force the action when what you need is rest and to wait for inspiration. So that's a message from Ishtar. We're going to move into a couple more oracle cards for the masses from the Animal Spirit deck, the Wild Unknown. So I'm going to shuffle up these cards and we'll pull 3 cards to kind of tell the energy that we are coming from in this previous week into the new moon, the energy of the new moon, and then the energy that the coming weeks has in store for us based on the changes that we're making during this Taurus new moon energy. Okay, so our past energy that we're just coming out of into this new moon is very fitting for what I just said. It is the Firefly. So the firefly is very much about that divine feminine energy of allowing yourself to wait for the inspiration, but then letting yourself strike when the inspiration is hot. So just like the firefly lights up for just a moment and then goes dim again, there's this feeling with the firefly that we're just coming out of this energy of inspiration coming through that we may or may not have sort of felt like we missed out on. So there's two messages to that. One is the next time the light goes on, make sure you take action. And two is also know that you get more than one opportunity to see that light flash on and take that action. So there's this message of definitely don't take for granted these sparks of inspiration, because you definitely don't want the muse to come to your bedside and tell her that you're gonna get to her later because she'll go find somebody else. You wanna make sure that you are taking advantage of that, but don't beat yourself up if you've already had a moment where you didn't jump right into action. If you kind of felt like you missed out on that inspiration, it may be that that project itself found somewhere else to be, and that won't be what comes up in your next flash of inspiration. So allow it to just kind of be what it was. If you don't feel inspired to work on that project any longer, just be like, okay, that was a matter of timing and I didn't jump on it, and somebody else is gonna do that, and that's okay. The universe has a way of evening all that out. But it is a message that you definitely don't want to take those moments of inspiration for granted. So when you're in the middle of that self-care and you get some sort of flash of inspiration to take action on a project, don't get so caught up in the idea that this is your self-care day that you don't take action on what it is that you want to passionately work on. So your self-care shouldn't be preventing you from doing other things that make you feel alive. It should be something that kind of opens you up for the inspiration so that you then can act on it in the moment. So the next card, the card of our new moon energy, is the raccoon. So the raccoon is an interesting card. It's definitely a creative energy. There's an artistry and sort of illusionary imagery of the raccoon. There's that whole idea of the raccoon's wearing a mask, and so this is telling us that there's sort of an energy coming in with this new moon of making sure that you're taking credit for your own work and your own creative impulses and not letting someone else kind of take the credit away from you, or vice versa. It also could be make sure that you're not taking credit for someone else's creativity. And the way to get out of any stuck energy in the raccoon is to actually create something. You want to make sure that you are setting aside time to create something that is all your own. And if you don't consider yourself an artistic person, that's okay. This still counts, because creating something could be making yourself a delicious meal that you made from scratch. It could be creating a space in your home that feels good. Home is very important during Taurus season, so that would be a really great thing to do. Maybe feng shui your home during one afternoon, and that's how you create. But make it your own. Put your own spin on whatever it is that you're creating, and allow yourself to have your own voice. So if you find that you're kind of looking to outside inspiration all the time to figure out what it is that you want to do, put aside this social media, put aside the Pinterest boards, kind of sit in your own thoughts for a while and see what comes forward, because that's oftentimes when we find our most authentic voice, when we're not acting from an outside inspiration, but we're acting from an internal inspiration, which again comes back to that firefly energy of that spark of light that just comes forward from deep within us. So the raccoon for this new moon says, make sure you're setting aside time during this 48 hours around the new moon to create something, anything. Even if you are an artist and you just feel like you're kind of not in a creative mode right now, do the food cooking, do the furniture rearranging, to get out a coloring book and just color something a little outside the lines. Do something that just feels authentically you. It could even be reinventing your wardrobe or making yourself up the day. You could be your own creative project, but just make sure that you create something that's you and not something that's trying to be someone else. The energy that we're moving out of after this moon is the fish. So the fish energy is a little bit scattered. So this is saying that after we have this little new moon creativity, we might have a little moment of kind of trying to find ourselves again. And that might be because you have been creating from a place that wasn't your authentic voice. But so by tapping into that during this new moon, it might kind of feel like someone pulled the rug out from underneath you for a second. You might be like, whoa, hang on, like if that's who I am, then what have I been doing all this time? Who have I been trying to be if that wasn't my authentic voice? So there might be kind of a moment of readjustment after this new moon where you kind of go back and reevaluate past projects and you say, you know, I really wasn't speaking with my true voice. That wasn't who I was. And it might be a really good time to kind of go back and revamp your image, whether it be online, personally with fashion and clothing, or just the image that you have of yourself. Retell the story of who you are. Get down a journal. Make sure that you're writing out whatever it is that you're coming up with here, because it's really important self-discovery that's happening under this Taurus new moon, and especially in the time that comes afterwards. Okay, so to sum up our oracle cards, we definitely have a divine creative energy that's coming forward. A feeling of striking when inspiration shows itself to you, making sure you're speaking and acting and creating with your own authentic voice rather than imitating someone else's, and being okay with an adjustment period after you find that voice so that you can really kind of finalize who you are and move forward from here on out with your authentic vision. So if this reading resonated for you, we are gonna pull about 10 to 15 additional cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. So if you're interested in that, once again, you can head over to patreon.com/Michelle Shea and join the full-time fortune tellers to get all of the perks available there. And if you are watching this on Patreon already, the rest of the reading starts right now.